Live from Fargo and serving you on TV, online, and on the go. This is Valley News Live 10 at 10.
We begin tonight with a Valley News Live exclusive, bombs on the road and the steps taken that could have led to people getting hurt. Good evening, everyone. Thanks for joining us tonight. Stephanie is off. 2 bombs were discovered in the back of a truck in Sunday night's high-speed chase in a field in Sabin, Minnesota. We received a concern from someone familiar with this case, saying that the way the 2 explosives were handled put the public in potential danger. We investigated. Valley News Team's Christina Craig contacted several law enforcement agencies to find out if anything went wrong.
What started as a concern from a viewer led to an obvious question: what could have been so dangerous, putting many at risk? Since Sunday's chase started in Glendon, I gave Police Chief Mike Klein a call. The chief told me the case proceeded to a field near Sabin after 2 men were arrested and law enforcement searched the truck. They found 2 explosives on the floor of the back seat. Both homemade bombs were moved to the front of the truck. Chief Klein says since Glendon's police department does not have bomb policies in place, the Red River Valley Regional Bomb Squad was called.
We don't want them, lifting it up, moving it around, changing the, package in any way. So depending on who made it, how it was made, and what it is used to trigger it, we want to make sure that the item stays intact.
The pickup with the 2 bombs in the front seat was towed from Sabin to Moorhead, but that didn't happen until the next day. Investigators wouldn't tell me which route was taken. However, it likely involved a combination of state highway and interstate. If something went wrong, the public could have been in danger.
Is it completely out of the realm? No. Is it, probably the first time I've heard around here? Yeah. But I'm not saying it was potentially wrong, because we sure wouldn't want the officers taking those items and having them roll around in the trunk of their squad car either.
Luckily, the bombs did not go off, at least not until the bomb squad safely detonated them Tuesday. Also, the size of the explosion associated with the bombs were small. In hindsight, Sabin's police chief told me that his department is now looking to develop a policy if such situation occurs again.
Thanks, Christina. We also want to point out that the 2 men involved in the chase are 23-year-old Jordan Overmeyer and 39-year-old Gene Wilkie. They remain in jail tonight. Both are facing several charges, including felony possession of explosives. If you need help uncovering fraud or corruption in your community, call our whistleblower hotline. We'll do our best to get to the bottom of it. 701-237-6576 and leave your tip. A member of our investigative team will get on the case and go to work in an attempt to expose the truth. Thanks to an overhead sprinkler system, an unattended cooking fire was put out quickly late this afternoon. People living at 4936 47th Street South reported smoke coming from a 3rd-floor apartment. When firefighters arrived, smoke filled the hallway, but when they entered the apartment, the fire was out. There were no injuries. Damage estimates are about $15,000. Plans are underway to install crossing arms and lights at the scene of a fatal school bus train crash east of Larimore. The State Department of Transportation, Burlington Northern Santa Fe, and Grand Forks County Commissioners are working together to fund parts of the project. The state came to the county saying it would pick up 90% of the price tag. County Commissioners say they're all on board.
Again, when those folks are saying, hey, they're willing to enhance a crossing that like I said, meets all the specifications right now, I think we would be real fools, not to take them up on it and say thank you very much.
It's hoped that the project will be completed near the end of the summer. Early cost estimates are between $250,000 and $500,000. Transporting oil by rail continues to raise concerns in Minnesota, so much so that a state Senate committee is discussing a report from the Department of Public Safety on just how prepared the state of Minnesota is for an oil transportation disaster. Alan Constantini has our story.
It was Rail Safety Day here at the state capitol. 2 hearings in 2 different places. First, a House hearing on rail crossings here at the state office building.
Our goal is to really maximize the benefits of rail. However, we also need to be concerned about minimizing safety risks.
MnDOT Freight Office Director Bill Gardner gave an overview of the state's new rail crossing safety study. The anxiety is all about crossings on tracks used by the long trains carrying volatile Bakken oil from North Dakota across Minnesota. The BNSF Railroad's Brian Sweeney tried to reassure the lawmakers.
We think that there is more to be done, certainly in training. We've been working on that. We have equipment in place. We think that in general, yes, the situation is pretty good.
The railroads say doing crossing improvements is federal money. Railroads just do maintenance. At the same time, in the Capitol itself, the Senate Transportation Committee was holding a hearing on the state's preparedness study for the kind of disaster that struck Castleton, North Dakota.
The question about equipment is the question of who should own and manage and maintain and deploy the equipment when incidents occur.
The question in both houses of the legislature is who would be left holding the check if, heaven forbid, we had a Castleton disaster here in Minnesota. Senator Scott Dibble says whoever is transporting the oil should pay for any problems. At the state capitol, I'm Alan Costantini.
The Minnesota legislature will continue to study the issues and expect bills to be submitted in both houses. A Star Tribune investigation found the death of a 4-year-old Minnesota boy could have been prevented if child protection workers had investigated numerous reports of abuse. Pope County workers do not routinely consider signs of trouble at home, including police calls, living conditions, or neighbor complaints. The new laws require every abuse report to be investigated by law enforcement. Abuse reports must be kept for 5 years, and the law will specifically say child safety is more important than family preservation. 2 separate legislative committees are simultaneously considering law changes. One Minnesota lawmaker says it may cost tens of millions of dollars, but it is worth it. A former University of Minnesota quarterback has pleaded guilty in the beating case that left a Minnesota State athlete with severe head trauma. Philip Nelson appeared in a Mankato courtroom this morning, but did not address the court or speak to reporters. He told the judge he agreed to the plea, then left the courthouse through a side door. The 2 felony charges against Nelson were dropped because doctors say there was a lack of medical certainty as to whether Nelson's kick caused Isaac Kolsted's brain injury.
As a parent, this case is very troubling. You essentially have some decisions made by 3 people within 10 seconds have changed the course of their lives for years to come, and the ripple effect of that as well.
Nelson will be sentenced February 25th. He has said he hopes he can return to college football. Medical experts hired by both Nelson's defense team and the prosecution believe the severe injuries were caused by the punches to Kolsted's head, allegedly delivered by another man who is charged with felony assault in this case. Governor Mark Dayton wants to invest $30 million in the University of Minnesota Medical School to hire 50 additional researchers. The money would come for the state's projected $1 billion budget surplus. If approved by lawmakers, the dean of the medical school says the money would back new studies on chronic disease, such as cancer and diabetes.
We want to make sure that these will be highly impactful areas, and we will be world-class in these areas. We will become the leaders in this area. That's the intention.
The dean's goal is to bring the University of Minnesota back into the top 20 when it comes to medical research. Currently, it's 30th. The proposal is another part of Governor Dayton's budget plan, which he will unveil in full next week. If you're looking to add a little culture into your life, here's a suggestion. Attend Beethoven Fest. It's just around the corner. It's a month-long arts and culture festival this winter. Organizers say that Beethoven Fest strives to foster a community-wide support of creating, exploring, and learning together through the arts. This is the first in what is hoped to be the annual Winter Arts Experience. To see a full list of the events, go to our website, valleynewslive.com, and click on this story. And remember to like Valley News Live on Facebook. You can follow the latest news, weather, and breaking news updates anytime on your feed. Just search Valley News Live, like our page, and you'll stay informed throughout the entire day.
Valley News Live 10 at 10 continues with No Wait weather.
When it's a little after 10 in January and it's 14 above zero, we should consider ourselves lucky.
Average highs this time of year in Fargo, 18 degrees. So, yeah, not bad. A little bit cooling off. Today was a cool one. We have the north winds out there, icy roads, but we have warmer temperatures about to return. Nice. Miles of smiles here in the studio. And here's a look at our temperatures this evening. Now, notice Fargo-Moorhead is sitting at 14 degrees, but Detroit Lakes, Fergus Falls, Roseau, Thief River Falls all falling back into those single digits tonight. It's cold. Out to the west, it's cold as well in the Cheyenne River Valley with Valley City at 5, Langdon at that same reading. So the chill is on right now, but we'll start to see temperatures warming in the very near future. This is as cold as we've been, by the way, for about 7 to 10 days across portions of the valley. Clear skies, or at least partial clearing, taking place across the region as the clouds and the cold push southward. But now we're going to see some changes coming through. And those changes, oftentimes, as warm air tries to punch its way in. Notice sleet in Saskatoon, some snow near Saskatoon as well. So definitely some changes taking place there in Saskatchewan. Here's another thing that's taking place right now. Calm winds in Fargo. Now, as we look off to the east, we have that north wind that blew throughout the valley throughout the entirety of the day. That continues for our eastern neighbors. But out to the west, look at the shift taking place. That wind's kicking out of the south, and that's a good direction. For warmer weather here in the valley right now, quiet conditions in Fargo, Moorhead, 14 degrees. Calm wind means the feels-like temperature or wind chill doesn't have much of an impact, but that will not be the case as we go through our day tomorrow. Yes, the warmth returns, but let's not judge the book by its cover, because here's what's going to happen. During the overnight, we'll see clouds increase in the Minot and Devil's Lake area, and notice a chance for some spits of snow or freezing drizzle. Rising temperatures out in our western counties, no more 5 to 10 degree readings. We'll be pushing 15 to 20 by daybreak. Here in the Red River Valley, temperatures also will be fairly steady from where they are now. Even though we'll dip a little bit after midnight, we'll start seeing things rise back up. Notice winds gusting over 15 miles per hour. Even in the morning, we'll have wind chills near 0 to below 0 across the region. The coldest start your day temperatures will be in the Bagley, Bemidji, and Wadena areas, where we'll have some single-digit readings, with the best chance of freezing drizzle and slop and slipperiness in the forecast moving in along the Highway 2 corridor through the mid-morning hours. Once again, that northern tier of counties has a best chance of those very slippery road conditions as temperatures warm into the 30s to near 40 degrees out west. That chance of rain, sleet, and snow that will freeze on sidewalks and freeze on roads will move through the valley tomorrow evening. Please keep in mind, we could have a slippery commute. It's going to be hit and miss. Not everyone is going to get it, but be aware it's going to happen. Temperatures in the 20s out to the west. Here's your hometown planner, southeast North Dakota, mid-30s. Gusty winds all day and into the evening. We'll have it feeling like it's generally in the teens to the low 20s throughout the day. So I'll call it wind chilly. Wind chilly with spotty freezing drizzle in Lakes Country and the Northland, having a chance of that as well, with temperatures 25 to 30 degrees from Bemidji to Hallock. As we look into Grand Forks, 35, Carrington, 33, and Cando. And here's a peek at our planning forecast. And we have a lot to plan for. Warmer weather on Friday, closing out the week with near 40-degree weather. But that warmth comes again with a slight chance of some spits of snow or rain. A better chance Saturday night into Sunday of some unsettled weather with slippery conditions making its way through. So be aware of that. Then next week, we stay warm. And in fact, we stay warm all the way through next week. Tuesday, still warm. Watch this purple blob. Purple blob on Hutch's cold air blobcast. Not good news. Look where it comes. Whoop, right here into the valley by next weekend. That's Super Bowl Sunday weekend, by the way, Mike. Might want to stay indoors and watch a little football, no matter how inflated they are.
Stop it.
I'm being good.
Coming up on Valley News Live 10 at 10, the product that Amazon is taking off the market. But first, find out what new painkiller is bringing smiles to moms' faces.